All right, welcome in everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Today, we're looking at something that, on the surface, it sounds pretty basic.
Yeah,
Buying Bitcoin with a credit card.
right.
We're not going to go super deep into like the nuts and bolts of how Bitcoin works or the whole credit card system.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what happens when those two things come together.
It's really interesting when you think about it. You've got Bitcoin, which was kind of designed to be this like outside of the system, like this alternative
Yeah.
to traditional finance. And then you've got credit cards, which are, very much part of that system.
Right, yeah.
And so putting those two together brings up some really interesting questions.
Yeah, it's like bridging two different worlds.
Absolutely.
So for everybody listening, think about this. You're interested in Bitcoin. Maybe you've heard some things about it, but the whole thing with like setting up a crypto wallet and, using exchanges, that kind of seems like a lot. And then you hear, oh, you could just buy Bitcoin with a credit card.
Right.
That sounds a lot easier.
Yeah. So what these platforms do is they basically work with payment processors and they work with exchanges
Okay.
to let you buy Bitcoin directly using your credit card info.
So easy.
Super convenient. But you do have to keep in mind that convenience, usually comes with a little bit higher fees
Okay.
than if you were to go through a more traditional exchange. So it's always good to, look at your different options.
But wait a minute. Isn't that kind of contradictory?
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin's whole thing is like decentralization.
Right.
It's not supposed to be part of the system. But if you're using a credit card, doesn't that bring it right back into that traditional financial system?
Yeah, that's a great point. And it really gets to the heart of the kind of philosophical issue here.
Uh-huh.
Bitcoin was born out of this distrust of, big institutions,
Yeah.
centralized control. And yet here it is being embraced by the very system that it was trying to move away from.
Right. That's so interesting.
It's an interesting tension for sure.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got this increased access.
Right.
Anybody with a credit card can get involved with Bitcoin. But you mentioned risks earlier.
Yeah.
What are some of the downsides for someone who decides to buy Bitcoin this way?
Well, for you as the buyer, the risks are kind of similar to any credit card purchase.
Okay.
You've got interest rates,
Right.
and those can add up really fast if you're not careful.
Oh, for sure.
And I think there's also the temptation to look at Bitcoin as like a get rich quick kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
especially when it's so easy to buy.
Especially when it's that easy.
We've all heard those stories about Bitcoin, going up and down in price.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to be in a situation where you're in debt
Right.
because you were chasing, some quick profit
Oh, yeah.
and hoping to get rich quick.
So what happens if someone maxes out their credit card
Right.
buying Bitcoin and then the price crashes?
Yeah,
That sounds like a disaster.
that could be really bad.
Are there risks to the larger financial system too?
That's where things get even more complicated, I think.
Okay.
If you have lots and lots of people
Yeah.
using credit to buy Bitcoin, especially if they don't really understand how volatile it can be,
Right.
that could really, throw some instability into the whole financial system.
Yeah.
You can think of it like, you throw a rock into a pond and the ripples go out from there.
Yeah.
So this is something that, regulators are definitely paying attention to because they're trying to balance, encouraging new ideas and innovation.
Right.
But at the same time, they want to make sure that the whole system's stable.
Wow. So we started with this idea that seems so simple.
Yeah.
Just buying Bitcoin with a credit card.
Yeah.
And it turns out it has these much bigger implications.
Absolutely.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think about how fast technology changes
Yeah.
and how, we might see even more unexpected combinations like this in the future.
It's amazing.
Imagine you're at a coffee shop.
Uh-huh.
You see the price of Bitcoin going up on your phone.
Yep.
And you decide right there, you know what, I'm going to buy some. And you just do it right there with your credit card.
It's like instant.
That's how immediate it is.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
It's really mind-blowing.
As these technologies keep developing, it makes you wonder what other impossible transactions might become possible.
Yeah.
What other barriers are we going to break down? It's really something to think about.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.